Good evening, everyone. I'm Archit Seshadri. Thanks so much for watching us. This is WION, World is One News. Today is Wednesday, June the 21st. The time now is 8:30 in the morning in New York, 1:30 in London, 2:30 in Cairo, and 6 p.m. here in New Delhi. Tonight, our special report focuses on nurturing nature, things that we can do to protect planet Earth. Our first story, beautifying our beaches. Well, over the past 90 weeks, dozens of volunteers in Bombay have picked up trash, removed debris and planted trees scattered around Versova Beach. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the man behind the mission, Afroz Shah, a lawyer who led the effort. He's inspired many people in Bombay to keep things clean, even inspiring Bollywood celebrities to chip in. We got a chance to take a boat ride to see the area firsthand. Beneath this picture-perfect view is in fact a dark secret filled with broken bottles, crumpled cans and plastic bags, and eating away into the marine life who call it home.
This is mangroves, which are very ecologically sensitive. They protect us, they protect our shoreline.
This would have been a tourist spot. It would have been where your citizens come out and hang out, and it would have been a community that would have been able to engage with each other. But what we've turned this into is a sewage. The water is black. There's debris and plastic floating around everywhere. You look at the sight of beautiful birds skimming off the surface of the water thinking that they're getting fish or they're getting marine life, and they're actually picking up plastic.
In October of 2015, Mumbai lawyer Afroz Shah decided to do something. Every weekend he would pick up trash from Versova Beach, just blocks from his apartment. What started with just a few folks started to grow into a movement.
More than 22 million people living on this coastline, and this is what we have done to our coastline, devastation. But then I'm hopeful and positive that we'll make an attempt. All of us will make an attempt. I don't know whether we'll succeed or not, but the point is we'll make an attempt.
Shah took us to the root cause of the problem and says this is where it all starts.
We are the source. We are the source where, this is one of the creek which is entering. And this is what we have done to our oceans. This has become like sewerage, sewer dams.
There's going to be no end to this because, this is the problem. It's easy for us to go on a beach and clean. How do we go in here and clean?
Actress Pooja Bhatt says it's ironic to see the mess around Versova Beach, an area that's surrounded by film stars who also need to do their part.
It's very easy to kind of blame people and say that, hey, it's the slums and people who are uneducated are kind of littering. But the kind of garbage I picked up the beach myself, intact school bags, intact brand new school bags. Why are they being dumped? Why are they being dumped? High-end kind of food products, Tetra Packs, bottles, contraceptives, needles. I have physically picked up things myself that I didn't even think I would be so close to.
So who takes the blame? Tourists? Celebrities? The government? Or the people of Mumbai?
I blame myself. I have no complaint against it. It's me. What do I tell anybody? I have littered. I have done this. I can't blame anybody.
People find the easiest way out is blame the government. They are doing their thing. They've got their hawks and doves. They've got their systems. But they're trying to do their best as well.
Over the past 85 weeks, thousands of volunteers have collected trash and removed debris from the Versova Creek. They've collected more than 5 million kilograms of trash so it doesn't wash ashore on the beach. Now they're going to be soon adding more nets on the entryways, as well as send out speedboats and boats during high tide to pick up the trash.
And I think that it's all of us who are to blame because it's too easy, like Afroz says, to keep pointing the finger at the other and saying the government's responsible, the BMC is responsible. How does the plastic get there? We throw it in there. So my point is that if you can't be an Afroz Shah and go and lift garbage off the beach, at least don't throw it into the ocean.
In fact, the United Nations Environment Program called it one of the largest beach cleanup efforts in its history. Even the Prime Minister of India praised their efforts. Shah says he's working with local colleges to recruit thousands of student volunteers to keep the cleanup going.
When there's a problem, you look for a solution, no? So we'll have to do it. We'll have to do this. Who else will do it? We waited for the government, we waited for the courts. So how long are we going to wait now? Might as well take it on.
For now, Shah and his volunteers are on a mission, finished with one beach and focusing on the next. Reporting in Mumbai, Archit Seshadri, WION. All right, to get perspective on this story, let's go to environmentalist Ravi Utterwalla to get us some insights on this. Ravi, thanks for joining us tonight. My question to you is the fact that our beaches in India, it's not just Versova Beach, any beach that you go to, whether it's in Chennai, in Mumbai, any part of the country, you see that. You see the trash, you see the debris, and it is really unbelievable. And to just quote what Pooja Bhatt had to say, she said, some of these views should be tourist spots, but instead they're an eyesore. What do you think, in your opinion, what should happen to prevent this type of trash accumulation from happening?
Well, I think, this effort in Versova has been extremely good because this kind of citizens' action is very necessary. However, having said that, I think the fact that everything is becoming visible shows how deep the problem is, because the problem is not only on the beach, plastics on the beach. The plastics are everywhere. If you read about or know about microplastics are coming from everything we wear, everything we use as cosmetics, and there'll be more plastics in the ocean in the next 25 years than there are fish. So the plastic pollution is so heavy that it's become systematic. Now, of course, we need people to act, but we also need people to realize that the problem is not just littering and garbage. It's everything we use is coming out there, and we don't know how to even control it or even to stop it from going outside in the environment, and in this case, in the sea. So it is, at first instance, I think the extent of the crisis is not realized by people, by our state, by our governments, not only in India, everywhere. And also the industry is making products which are causing pollution which we cannot control. If you look at the scrubs, microbeads in cosmetics,
right?
They are coming up in fish. They're coming up in marine life, and we need to have a comprehensive understanding that this is a problem. It is a crisis we are facing right now.
Ravi, let me also ask you about the measures, perhaps from the government. It's something that when we were on the boat, touring that area by Versova Creek in Bombay, a lot of people assume it's perhaps the slum areas. It's perhaps a certain demographic of the population, but everybody says it's not just one group, it's everybody. It's not tourists, it's not celebrities, it's not just citizens. It is a collective problem. Should the government perhaps impose stricter fines, like in other countries like Singapore, where they've been very strict to make sure the streets and the waterways are clean?
Yeah, unfortunately, the poor are always blamed for this pollution. Actually, the poor are consuming the least in our society, and hence, if you consume less, you cannot pollute. It's just logic. So people who are consuming most, the high-end goods, who are spending more on consumables, that the pollution is coming from there, and it's coming from the drainage systems, from people throwing things on the beach and not caring about it. So I think it's time we stop blaming the poor, because they certainly don't have enough to throw away. We have to start taking responsibility for it. Now, the government has done with the Swachh Bharat, they have promoted this as a national mission. But we need to do much more. For example, we don't have a packaging policy. Now, if you're making a product in Europe, you come under packaging laws of what kind of packaging, what kind of materials you can use for packaging. Here, as yet, we don't have a packaging policy. I know the government is working on it, but it's going to take some time. So we need to do much, much more than what we have done. And unfortunately, the municipalities can do only so much if people don't cooperate. People have to cooperate. I mean, you can go onto a beach, and educated people are throwing things onto national environments. And if you stop them, they get really upset that somebody is stopping them. So I think this realization that this is a common property It belongs to all of us, and not just to some people who seem to have a right to litter the beach.
Ravi, also to quote what Pooja Bhatt told me when we're on that boat, a very interesting perspective. It's sort of a full 360. You know, people polluting and throwing bottles or whatever they want in the water, then, you know, it affects the marine life, the fish, and ultimately people eat that fish. So it sort of comes back to them. I mean, they're not only harming the environment, but also the marine life who call that home, as well as ultimately themselves when they have to eat, you know, seafood. I mean, so it is a very sad problem. And thank God we have heroes like Afroz Shah, who's really making an effort out of this. Let me ask you about, you know, social media. How important is social media in this day and age to highlight such issues and such causes, to bring it to the spotlight?
I think social media is the way people communicate today, and I think it's extremely important, because of it's everybody's media. It's not going through one channel, it's going through everybody. It is extremely critical. That's the way people decide, that's the way people vote, that's the way people form opinions. So I think extremely important. I think just want to add that what we see is not just plastic, but also the chemicals in the plastics. Because when you talked about marine life, what we don't know are the chemicals these plastics are containing, and they're coming back to our food chain as well. So I think we need to really deepen our awareness of this, and social media, I consider it very, very critical to this.
Ravi, you know what's interesting as well? It's not just you know, the plastic bottles or the cans or the bags. I mean, Pooja told me that there were needles, there were backpacks, things that you wouldn't even imagine to find in a body of water, especially at a beach. I mean, that's what she said she was most surprised about. So really, it's anybody and everybody to blame when it comes to situations like this. But what I was impressed was to see some of these stars getting out there, getting out down and dirty. Pooja Bhatt, Randeep Hooda, who we spoke to exclusively. How important is it when celebrities, you know, are doing things like this? I mean, she said this area, Versova Beach, is right by the homes of many Bollywood stars, and they're not even worried about their own backyard, at least most of them are not. But the fact that some of them are taking time to get out there and get dirty and clean up, how important is it when they endorse causes like this?
You know, when we think of smoking a couple of decades back, people used to be smoking everywhere. Now it's socially ostracized. In fact, even film stars and role models don't want to be seen smoking. It should be like that. And I think that when you do something like that, people should be socially ostracized. Role models are extremely critical. You know, they have very high visibility. Their words carry a lot of weight. They have a lot of credibility. And I'm glad some people in the Bombay film industry are taking it up, because I think they can not only send the right message, but they can also you know, send the message to their own peer group that more people should take it up. After all, it is not social service, it is a need of the day.
Ravi, let me also ask you about this. The UN environmental program, they've you know, acknowledged this and really praised Afroz Shah. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also saying, you know, this is a wonderful effort by all of the volunteers. What started out as a small movement now growing into hundreds of volunteers every beach. I mean, removing what, 5 million kilograms of trash is no easy feat. They're saying that they're going to continue doing that to other beaches. But what is next? How do you keep that momentum going? One beach down, so many beaches left in Mumbai, and the rest of India as well. You know, one done, but a lot more left.
I think both by what you just said, when people like the Prime Minister and the UN at such high dignitaries praise somebody, people see this as a worthwhile social goal, and people feel acknowledged for that. It's very important to acknowledge all the good effort being put in. Simultaneously, it has to go along with some kind of negative impact if people do this. So whether it's socially telling them they should not be done, or you know, posting pictures on Facebook of people who are doing it, or adding systemic fines to bad kind of packaging or things which cannot be disposed of properly. These are the multiple things which we can do. But I must add, without citizens' action, none of them will succeed. So I see the people's action at the beach as the prime center which will change the way in which governments and other stakeholders also act.
All right, well, Ravi, I'm going to have you hold on for just a minute. We actually have a surprise. We have Afroz Shah joining us from Mumbai. Afroz, thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, congratulations again. We really appreciate your time and all that you are doing to clean up the beaches of India, one beach at a time. Almost been now, what, 2 years since this effort started. How is it going now? You know, we met a few weeks back in Bombay. What's being done next to keep that momentum going? How are you inspiring more volunteers to keep the beaches clean?
First of all, thank you very much, Arijit, for inviting me. My apologies, I could not get on the Skype, but my voice is loud enough to go loud and clear to everybody who's listening. Let me tell you, we'll keep on doing it. For us, it's a passion, you know. A lot of people talk about how the government policy should be, how the law should be, how the regulation should be. For us, it's a case of pure passion. To my mind, it is very clear that I owe a duty to this planet, I owe a duty to my constitution, and I owe a duty to my environment. And I'm doing a part of duty. It's an everyday affair for me. So for me, a lot of people ask me whether it's a mission. I tell them, no, it's not a mission. It's a passion and love affair. And when you are in love, you don't want to end it so soon.
And it's certainly a step in the right direction, Afroz. But what are some of the challenges, perhaps, that you faced? And describe that. You know, this started in October of 2015, almost 2 years, as we talked about. But some of the challenges that you are dealing with, if any. But I do know there is a lot of good news. You mentioned to me that you're getting thousands of students from some of the colleges there in Bombay to help out. So certainly that'll help clean some of the other the beaches. But describe some of the issues that you may have faced, the roadblocks.
I'll tell you, I'll break up your question in two parts. First of all, you know, there is a problem of infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, logistic to handle the waste. And the other aspect is about the mindset, how people react to waste and to plastic in particular. So for me, it's more of a mindset issue which I'm dealing with. You know, the challenge is to change people's mindset. Like a lot of people ask me, oh, you must make a shout out to ban plastic. I tell them, don't do that. It's my empathy towards plastic which is creating a problem, you know. I should know how to handle the plastic. First of all, when I encounter plastic, I should be able to refuse it. And if I can't, I should reduce it. If I can't, I should recycle it, which I'm not doing it. So for me, the challenge is mostly about mental makeup of how do you shift from a thought process which tells you that you have to live a life of convenience and a thought process which tells you that you live a life with care and protect your environment. For me, that's more challenging at this point of time rather than the infrastructure.
Afroz, Versova Beach, all the people around there certainly grateful, certainly lucky for all that you have done along with the volunteers. So what's next at this point? Where do you envision this movement that has grown significantly thanks to you and the volunteers? Where do you see this next? What are the other steps and beaches perhaps that may look like Versova Beach in the coming years?
Yeah. See, I'll tell you, all coastal communities in India and world over must rise up to the occasion. It's my planet, my ocean, my beach, my water body. So they will have to replicate this model which has been created at Versova Beach. I am ready, you know, with the Prime Minister saying that he wants to replicate it too. So we are all working hard. Maybe this will be taken up to 19 beaches in a few months' time in Mumbai, and then it will be taken over all over India. We want our ocean plastic free. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to put my might, my time, my effort, and my money into it. You know, I'm very clear about it.
And
I always tell people, you see, our connect with the environment and the ocean has been snapped.
Right.
The idea to clean beaches or to clean the water bodies is to connect. And once you connect, then you know exactly how to treat your planet and your environment.
And Afroz, really quickly, I want to ask you, it's not just the beaches that are, whenever you walk, wherever you walk, especially in India, there's trash everywhere, the streets, in parks, in waterways, people littering here and there. So it is a little sad to see that, and certainly inspiring when people like you take that initiative. Where do you, hope this continues to grow? In other countries like Thailand and Singapore, it is in Asia, but it is a completely different picture. Perhaps the government is interfering, there's fines, there's regulations, but we don't see that in India. Where do you see this going? Should the government step in? Should there be more mandates to prevent litter from accumulating?
What could the government... which they have already done.
Right.
In India, you have Environment Protection Act. I'll get you as a lawyer now, I'll get you the specifics. There's a solid waste management rule. There's a plastic waste management rule. There's a wonderful concept of extended producer's responsibility, where simply to put it in one line, the one who produces must pick it up wherever it's littered. Now, in spite of having all this, if things are not working on the ground level, that means something is drastically wrong. It's not the law, but it's people's mindset at the end of the day. And my journey of cleaning the beach and getting thousands of people involved is precisely to that point. There's a person who comes and picks up the plastic at the beach or wherever on the road or near the water body. He'll make sure that he handles plastic at home, properly.
And
so I feel there is no shortage of law.
Right.
Laws are in abundance. It's about the enforcement and implementation of it.
And lastly, how do you feel, when the Prime Minister, the UN, and many Bollywood stars who live around that area are coming in to get their feet wet and help out with this? I mean, you've certainly been now the poster boy for this cleanup effort. Certainly a good feeling.
I get very humbled by it because I didn't start with looking at these things are going to follow. For me, it was purely a personal journey of cleaning my 10 by 10. I should keep cleaning every week of what I can do to the planet and to my country and to the environment. Yes, it feels nice, you feel humble, but at the same time, for me, I look forward to my next weekend. Every Saturday, I go for cleaning. So I'm looking forward for my next Saturday, Sunday. Yes, the applause and pat on the back will come and go, but there's a serious job on hand which has to be done now and which all of us must get involved in.
All right, Afroz Shah, getting us perspective. Thank you so much for those insights, and keep cleaning those beaches, one beach at a time.